Let each breath take you Hello, hello, beautiful people. Happy Sunday. It is so very good to be here with you as we gather together to celebrate the magnificence and significance of the presence and power of God operating, flowing in, through, and as each and every one of us. Let's begin as we always do with prayer. And I want to start by reading a familiar prayer, grounding us in familiar words of truth, the prayer of protection, written by James Dillett Freeman. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. The mind of God guides us. The life of God flows through us. The laws of God direct us. The peace of God abides within us. The joy of God uplifts us. The strength of God renews us. The beauty of God inspires us. Wherever we are, God is. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. From this place of awareness, I invite you to be still, get still, and we take a conscious breath in and a conscious breath out, allowing ourselves to come to the present moment. We breathe in and we breathe out, falling deeper in mind. We take another intentional breath in and an intentional breath out. From this place of awareness, I speak the words of truth. There is only one mind, only one power, only one presence that is working in all, through all, and as all. There is one life. That life is God. That life is perfect, whole, and complete. That life is my life now. That life is your life now. That life is all life now. This life that I call Mother, Father, God is back up, behind, and underneath all things. It is the ground of all being. It is the foundation of foundations. It is the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. It is above us and below us, at our left, at our right, in front of us and behind us. It is, and it is right here, right now. For what I know to be true is that God neither comes nor goes. God is always with us, right here, right now. God is with us right here and right now, no matter what we may be feeling. God is with us right here, right now. No matter what we may be experiencing, God, the all in all, is present right here and now, where we are, where we stand. For the space that we occupy is filled and overflowing with God's substance. The space that we are sitting in, this technology, this technological space, digital space that connects us, is filled and overflowing with God's stuff, with God's substance. Anything that we could ever want, need, or desire God to become, it is here now. Now, I remember, as surely as God is here now, as surely as all of God is here now, as surely as that potential and possibility is right here, right now, we are here now. For we are one with God and one of God. In truth, we are God in form. We are God in expression. We are God demonstrated. What we know to be true is that we are individualized, particularized, and undivided expressions of the all in all. We are the hands and the feet of God. We are the eyes and the ears of God. We are the activity of God here on planet Earth. And for this reason, we know that we have great power. For this reason, we know that we have great possibility. For this reason, we know that we are worthy. So from this place of awareness, I speak this word on my behalf and on behalf of every soul that is listening right here and right now. Grateful and thankful for Celebration Spiritual Center. Yes. Grateful and thankful for the weekend service. Grateful and thankful that there is a space that is available and has been available for 11 years and 11 more to come, that allows us to remember the truth of who we are, that supports us in remembering that we're worthy, that supports us in moving through and honoring our emotions, that supports us in understanding what grief is about, that supports us in understanding what mental health is all about, that supports us in knowing that there is great possibility for us, that supports us in knowing that we are not governed by the past of our lives, but we are governed by the decisions and choices that we make individually that then create the life that we desire. I am so grateful to be in a space, a safe space, yes, called Celebration Spiritual Center and the weekend service that is here to support us in the victories and in the losses, that's here to support us when we're feeling great and when we're feeling not so great. I am so grateful and thankful for this space. And I know that as each and every soul has endeavored to be here today, each and every one of us will leave here differently than when we came in. So from this place of awareness, I now release this prayer. I release it back into the law, which is always in operation, responding, and becoming. With joy and thanksgiving, we lift up our voices and we say, Amen.
Amen.
Ashe.
Ashe.
And so it is.
So it is.
And so it is, and so it must be. Well, hello. Happy Sunday, beautiful people. I'm Pastor Greg.
I'm Pastor Yolanda.
And it is wonderful, as always, to be here with you, to be here in community, to gather together, to remember what's true, to affirm what's true, to be reminded of what is true, and use that to practice in our lives. Use that to support us as we move through our days and our weeks. It is so very good to be here with each and every one of you. Now, you may be here for the very first time. You may be a first-time guest, and if you are, hello, welcome. We're so happy that you're here. Whatever it is that brought you here, however you got here, whether it was someone invited you or the algorithm invited you, we're happy that you're here. We're confident that as you participate and receive all that Celebration Spiritual Center is, we're confident that you will thrive, that you will feel empowered, and that empowerment supports you in thriving in your life. Something will be done, something will be said that will support you in doing that very thing. Now, the information you see here on your screen is how you can stay in touch with us and we can stay in touch with you. It's how you access your digital connection card. All you have to do is text that phone number. Just text welcome to 347-472-1078 and you'll receive a response with a link. Click that link and that'll take you to the digital connection card. We just need your name and your phone number. Submit it. You'll receive another text that says you're all set, and indeed you are. You'll be on our mailing list. You'll receive all of the information that we send out throughout the week, and also if you need to reach out to us, that you'll know how to reach out to us. But more importantly, again, we're happy that you're here, and we're confident that you will receive something. You can also feel free to let us know where you're connecting in from in the comments. It's always wonderful to see that, to know where you're residing, where you're streaming in from. You may find that there are others that are streaming from the same city, state, and country that you are. And I would just say to everyone right now, particularly as we are gathering together in community, let everybody know where you're connecting in from, or just that you're here. Just I'm here because it's wonderful to get that sense and to see how many people are actually connected, to see familiar names and faces, etc. I think a day like today, it's really good to see that and to be reminded that we are not in silos, that we are not alone, that we are indeed one big, beautiful community. So with that said, this is a wonderful opportunity for us to move into our news and updates. And from there, we will move into a very necessary meditation, the music, and the message. If you have a prayer request, you can send that prayer request to prayer champions at celebrationsc.org. We are always holding the entire community in our hearts and minds, speaking and knowing and thinking and affirming the very best for each and every one of you. And we recognize that you may have a specific prayer request. So you can send that to this email address. Also, you may want to send in a request on behalf of someone else. Please do that. We also love to hear how prayer is being answered in your life. So you can email prayerchampions at celebrationsc.org and let us know how that prayer has been answered. Let us know about the miracle and the shift that has taken place in your life. Every Wednesday morning, we gather together for the Momentum Prayer Call at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. No matter what, we gather together. We pray, we share a reading, and we move on with our day. I encourage you to be there with us live because it is a wonderful way to continue the momentum that we create on Sunday. It's also a wonderful way to start the momentum of your day by putting your mind on what is true, by focusing on the words of truth, recognizing that where you put the focus of your attention, your life, your experience of life will follow. And so inevitably, when you begin your day in that way, there's some good that will be reflected as a result of that choice. You see the information on your screen, the phone number and the access code. If you're not able to make the prayer call, or you just want to tap into the vibration of prayer at any time, you can use the playback number, enter the access code, and the most recent prayer will play. If you have not started planning for your coming year, now is the time to do that. No matter what is happening in the world, no matter what anyone else is doing, you must have a plan for your life. The Best Year Ever course is a time-tested program that supports you in doing that very thing. Vision, dream, nourish, and grow so that you can prosper in the ways that you desire to prosper in your life. The course is available. Once you sign up, you have access to the course right away and you can begin. I am also offering 3 live Zoom sessions, which have been powerful. The second Zoom session is actually starting. It's going to happen today. So if you decide to sign up for the course today, you'll receive the access to the course and also the link so that you can join us today for the live Zoom session. The last session will be in December, so you still have time to register, watch the previous sessions, as well as move through the course. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me. Otherwise, you can go to celebrationsc.org/register to sign up for the course. You can also use the QR code that'll take you there as well. Our series of the month that we are highlighting is from several Novembers ago. I believe it's 2018 or 2017, this sermon series. And we hear so often, thinking about gratitude oftentimes is hard to practice, and particularly when unwanted things show up in our lives. And we may hear this spiritual platitude, thank you, God, for everything. But what is actually true is that it's impossible to be grateful for everything. However, it is absolutely possible to be grateful in all things. And I recognize that sometimes, just as much as forgiveness can be hard to practice, sometimes gratitude can be hard to practice when you think that you have to be grateful for every event and thing that happens in your life. And so this sermon series supports you really understanding that in a powerful way, using, of course, the vibration of November and Thanksgiving. So that's available on our YouTube channel. I invite you to check it out. That is the series we're highlighting this month. Every third Sunday is God Talk Sunday. That means that next Sunday is the God Talk. Now, we recognize with all that is happening in our country now, the God Talk is a wonderful, necessary offering, and it's wonderful that it's always available to us. We made the choice to keep the schedule as it is, so we encourage you to be there next Sunday for the God Talk. To get the Zoom link and password, you have to be on our mailing list, or our first-time guests. If you want to be a part of the God Talk, once you register and join our mailing list, you'll get that information via email. But what the God Talk is all about is your opportunity to ask questions. It's your opportunity to learn how to apply spiritual principles to your life and not try to figure it out on your own.
Yes.
Because a lot of times, for those that you may have been with us at CSC for a long time, or just studying these principles for a long time, and there is a human tendency to spiritual bypass.
Mm-hmm.
There's a human tendency to think that because I've read all these books, or because I've studied, or because I've meditated for so many years, that I shouldn't be experiencing some emotion, or I shouldn't, right? And one, that's not true, but these are the kinds of things that we can talk through, right? These are the kinds of things that you can ask questions about. It's like, how do I approach my life when I'm experiencing certain levels of fear, right? What do I do? Are there resources? Any number of questions. No question is off limits. This is what we can and we do cover in the God Talk. But you got to be there live to ask questions. So we encourage you to set it in your calendar now. Make sure that you're there. Because I know it's going to be powerful. It always is. But again, given the current climate, I know that it will be powerful, and I know that it will be transformative. But you can't transform if you ain't there. Every fourth Sunday is Healing Sunday. We hold a specific spiritual mind treatment prayer for those that are seeking healing, physical healing, healing of any kind in your body, mind, or spirit. We know that prayer works, and it is working at CSC, and particularly we know that this Healing Sunday vibration that we've created is having powerful effects throughout our community. Healing is happening across the board, and it's wonderful to hear, to see, to know, and witness. And so we're going to continue to jump into the river of healing, knowing that it is available to each and every one of us. We, as we do each year, will not be holding service on Thanksgiving weekend. So the way that Thanksgiving is working this year, that would be Sunday, December 1st. We will not be holding service on that Sunday. So we trust that you will enjoy the holiday weekend, and also that you will spread the word so everyone knows that there will not be service on that Sunday. And that concludes our news and updates for today, which means we have the wonderful opportunity, the necessary opportunity, to go within as we are led in the meditation experience with Pastor Yolanda.
Ah, yes, yes. It is time for the meditation experience. And in times when we feel the uncertainty all around us or the loss and the grief in our bodies, we can take time to go within, relax the body, and open the mind to receive. Now, let me be clear that the meditation experience is not about spiritual bypassing, even though we select an affirmative thought every month and we use it in our meditation. It is about honoring where you are and at the same time relaxing the body and the mind so that it can receive a thought. Affirmative thoughts and affirmations are not just about manifesting the desires of our hearts. Affirmations, as Louise Hay liked to say, are like planting seeds in the ground. And right now, if I'm honest, the ground feels very dry and very hard and cold. But we take the time to unclench ourselves and allow the ground to receive today. And so that's what I hope you are able to do. You're not spiritual bypassing, you're not gaslighting because you don't feel exactly the way the affirmative thought says. You are allowing yourself to feel, to be held, and also to release what doesn't serve you or release what you need to move through. And so we plant the seeds of what we want to be the truth as much as we honor what the emotions we're feeling as true. So today, we're going to do that. We're going to allow ourselves to be held, to be seen right where we are. We're going to allow ourselves to feel what we feel. And at the same time, we're going to allow the ground to receive a thought to support us right where we are. And this month, the affirmative thought is, I am safe and secure in God. And how can I say that when I feel unsafe or unsecure? It can feel challenging, but we want you to honor what you're feeling and to allow me to support you in unclenching and in breathing and in feeling and allowing the thoughts and the feelings to move through. We are not bound by circumstance. We feel our experiences, we honor them, and we also today plant seeds for what we want to be true if it doesn't feel true right now. So let's prepare ourselves. Because when we are in a place of uncertainty or fear, doubt, and worry, everything can feel to close in and shut down. And that's normal. At the same time today, we want to create a space, if only briefly, where you can relax and breathe and welcome in the possibility. I am safe and secure in God is the seed we're planting. Again, it doesn't mean we don't honor where we are. We do both. So go ahead, look around the room, and notice where you are. This week has been particularly challenging for many. This week may have opened up a reminder of times gone by where we were grieving or where we were in fear. But today, I want to support you in grounding yourself in the truth, honoring your feelings, and allowing the light and the love that is true to hold you right where you are. Plant the palms on the tops of the thighs and take a moment to just notice how the palm touching the thigh feels. In times of grief, sadness, worry, or doubt, we may be out in the future, we may be in the past, but we use our meditative time to anchor us in this present moment. Plant the feet on the floor. And for a few seconds, let's use this idea of presence to raise the heels. And now raise the toes. And plant the feet. Let's do that again. Raise the heels as we breathe. Lower the heels and raise the toes. And one more time. Inhale, raise the heels. Exhale, lower the heels. Raise the toes on the inhale and exhale. You may not have realized that you were clenching the feet or clenching the body. We're going to allow you to give yourself permission to release that. And let's bring our focus of attention to the path of the breath. Another way to keep ourselves present. Bring your focus of attention to the low belly. And inhale and expand the low belly for a count of 4. And open the mouth, relax the jaw, sigh it out for 4. Inhale, expand the low belly. And open the mouth, relax the jaw, sigh it out for 4. We're just establishing a rhythm, a safe place to breathe and to be. Inhale, expand the low belly and allow that breath to rise as we expand the sides for 4. And release the breath for 4. Inhale through the low belly and up through the rib cage, expanding the sides, the front, and the back. Inhale, allow the breath to rise all the way to the heart. And for many of us, our hearts may feel pain and tension and hurt and sorrow. Let's breathe into that space. And when you're ready, release the breath. Inhale, expanding, rising, allowing the breath to fill all of our inside. And release on a count of 4. Again, inhale all the way up to the heart chakra. And when you're ready, release the breath. Now let's practice a few rounds of this deep breath on our own. Inhaling, and this time closing the lips when you're ready to exhale. And breathing out through the nose. As we breathe in and out through the nose, we settle the nervous system. As we breathe in and out through the nose, we become more present. So let's follow the path of the breath in through the nostrils. Holding, allowing that breath to heat up, and we exhale through the nostrils. In your mind, welcome in the breath. Inhale, hold, and when you're ready, exhale through the nostrils. And one more time, for this will be our form of breath work, in and out through the nostrils. Follow that path of breath flowing to you. Follow the breath as it moves through you. And then release the breath, making room for breath as it moves away and out of you. I am safe and secure because I am breathing. I am safe and secure in God because I am surrounded by its loving embrace. I am safe and secure to feel what I feel, so I release any tension in my body. It is safe to feel, and it is safe to heal. Let's practice a few rounds now, in and out through the nostrils, on your own. Last round. And place your left hand on your heart and your right hand on your belly. And breathe into that space. Fill it up, in and out through the nose. 2 more rounds. Feeling the heart beating, knowing that you are alive and supported and held and loved. And releasing what doesn't feel supportive right now. 1 more time. Allow the palms to rest on the tops of the thighs. And scan your body, noticing if there's tension. We have no judgment of anywhere that we're holding. We just send love there on the breath. Starting with the feet. Breathe into that space. And exhale the breath, relax the feet. As our feet are planted on the earth, as we are present, we allow the energy to move through the body. And as it moves, we allow it to relax us, to support us, to nurture us. Energy moving up through the soles of the feet, across the ankles. Relax the ankles. Energy flowing across the shins or the calves. Give yourself permission to relax. It is safe to relax. Energy flowing across the knees. Relax the knees now. And as we get to the larger muscles on the lower half of our body, we may not even be aware that we're clenching our glutes or our hamstrings, or we feel extra tension in our thighs. Love yourself in this moment. Breathe in and exhale. Relax the glutes, the hamstrings, and the thighs. And go ahead and release the lower half of your body. Give it permission to relax. Allow the seat where you are, the chair, the sofa, to hold you. Allow my voice to surround you. Let's send that energy up the spine, opening each chakra as we inhale, exhale, and allow. Inhale, exhale, and allow. Let the energy flow in and up. Exhale and allow. And from the safety of your seat, allow the emotion to be released and allow yourself to be supported in that. For where you are in your experience, God is. It is not judging or expecting anything from you right now. It is just a deep knowing that you are loved no matter what is happening. Allow that to be true. Allow yourself to relax as the energy flows in and up. and out the crown of our heads. Let that energy be a beacon to receive more love, compassion, safety, and security. See, feel, imagine, and know it to be so, that as you open to receive it, love, compassion, safety, and security flow back down through the crown. And we pause at the third eye. If there's any tension in the forehead, lovingly release it. If there's any tension in the jaw, lovingly release it. And let that energy flow down the throat. Maybe this week you felt too tight to speak, too closed off. That's okay. Allow the energy of love to flow down the throat and gently rest on the shoulders, giving them permission to relax. Let the energy flow down the arms, the energy of love to flow out the fingertips. As we allow ourselves to be held, supported, nurtured, it's okay to feel. Scan your body one last time. And if there's a spot where you've missed, allow the breath to flow there and relax. I will monitor the time. You take the inward journey, giving yourself permission to relax wherever you are. And if the mind wanders, it's okay. Be kind to your wandering mind and bring it back to the seed that we're planting. I am safe and secure in God. You don't have to till the soil anymore. You just let the seed be planted. And from this place of openness and energy, of compassion and self-love, I affirm for us all, I am safe and secure in God. You are safe and secure in God. We are safe and secure in the mind of God now. With our eyelids still closed, we honor the time, the attention, and the love that we've given ourselves. With our eyelids still closed, we acknowledge how we feel and we hold ourselves in love. And with our eyelids still closed, we remember that just as our breath is real, the power and the embrace and the love of God is real within us. We let it fill us. We remember when we forget to be compassionate that we can come back to this truth, this peace, this groundedness, that we are safe and secure in God. Let us start to make our return now. As we maybe wiggle the fingers and the toes, just to gently begin to wake the body. Stop the movement. As the palms are on the tops of the thighs, we inhale and draw our shoulders up by our ears. Exhale and release the shoulder blades back and down. Inhale. Allow the shoulder blades to rise. Exhale as we release the shoulder blades back and down. And one more time. Inhale up. Exhale as we release the shoulder blades back and down. We stop the movement and we acknowledge the breath is still moving as we bring the palms together at the heart center. And if you are able, bow the chin towards the fingertips, opening and allowing that energy to fill and flow back down from the base of the neck all the way down the spine. And when you're ready, allow the eyelids to open. Nice soft gaze, gentle gaze. Take your time. Inhale, raise the chin, raise the gaze. Release the breath. Maintain the peace. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, PY.
You're welcome.
Maintain the peace. Maintain the peace. Maintain the peace. Well, we are continuing in our series on God trauma, lessons from the book of Job, and we will be using Job to kind of move forward a little bit more in what it is that we're talking about and addressing the events of the day. This is not necessarily the sermon I was planning for this Sunday, but it's the sermon that's necessary in this moment. But of course, before we get into the message, we're going to get into the music. We're going to hear from Soul 21. After that, I will meet you on the other side with today's message, History Has Its Eyes on You. I'll see you on the other side. One of the attributes of God that we must come to understand about this presence is that it is omnipresence. Not omnipresent, but omnipresence, meaning that the presence of God is everywhere. The presence of God is with you in the valley, and the presence of God is with you at the top of the mountain. The presence of God is with you when you are in joy, and the presence of God is with you when you are in sadness. The presence of God is with you when you are in mourning, and the presence of God is with you when you are in celebration. It is omnipresence, everywhere at all times, constantly encountered. And because that is true, then we can affirm these words that wherever I am, that's where God is, and all is well. That's where God is. Wherever I am. That's where God is. And so I can affirm that all is well. I may be in sadness. I may be disappointed. I may be frustrated. I may not know what my next move is. But wherever I am, the all that is, the power that will get me out of the situation, the power that will show me the answer, the intelligence, the love, the good is right there where I am. Wherever I am. That's where God is. Within. God is within. When I'm in a situation, the last thing I want to do is search. All I have to do is go within. God is within. I don't have to look for God. God is within. God is within. And all is well. for God feels good. In love we live, we move and have our being. In good we live, we move and have our being. In joy we live, we move and have our being. Because the thing about God, the I am that I am, it will become whatever you need it to become in the moment that you need it. So when you need healing, in healing we live, in healing we move and have our being. When you need comfort, in comfort I live, in comfort I move, in comfort I have my being. When you need a little more joy, in joy I live, in joy I move, and in joy I have my being. In God we live, God we move, and have our being. So good to know, so good to know where we call home. In God we move, and have our being. So it is, so it is, so it is. Thank you, God. My. Yes, yes, yes. In God we live, in God we move and have our being. And I hope you heard that. Whatever you need God to be, it becomes. In nurturing I live, in comfort I live, in understanding I live, move, and have my being. Whatever you need God to be, it becomes. That's the reality of the I am that I am. The I will be what I will be. I will become what I will and can become. So grateful for that song, so grateful for that understanding, so grateful for that knowing, so grateful for Soul 21 and the CSC band for bringing that song to us. Hello, beautiful people. Happy Sunday. It is so very good to be here with each and every one of you on another Sunday. So good to be in community, so good to be here in this space and place, which allows us to feel all the feelings. This space and place, as I said in the opening prayer, that reminds us of who we are, but also reminds us to love and honor our emotions. Oh, it's so powerful. It's so wonderful. It's so wonderful. Well, I do have some things to share and to talk about as we continue and take this moment that we are in time, this moment that we are in history, and utilize the book of Job and utilize all the things that we've been talking about and studying over the past 5 weeks to support us in this moment now. But of course, first, I want to begin with a centering prayer. And so I invite you to repeat these words after me. I welcome the Spirit of truth into my heart. I welcome the Spirit of truth into my mind and let it grow in my heart. Thank you, God, in me, through me, and as me. Amen. Ashe. And so it is. Now, without going into too much detail, and if you're just joining us, you have really missed a very powerful series. So I trust that you will go back to the beginning of the series, which began last month. Again, God trauma, lessons from the book of Job. And we started in week 1 with Job's trauma. And in week 1, we're really establishing something that's very important, that one, we're reading the book of Job anew, and you're going to learn things about this book that you may not have known before, right? It's going to heal, reveal, and eliminate a bunch of different things. But what I emphasize, and I continue to emphasize each week, is that we are reading this book from a trauma-informed lens and a trauma-sensitive lens. Because the truth is, that's what we're really experiencing, that Job represents a traumatized community. That was the point. One of the points that the writer was making. The writer was looking at what his community was experiencing at a specific moment in time, reached back to this ancient story of the suffering saint or the innocent sufferer called Job, and use that story to then support his own community. And so, if we don't read it with a trauma informed or trauma sensitive lens, we've already missed 99.999% of what the book is supposed to support us in doing. In week 2, let the survivor speak. We're going to talk a little bit more about that today, but Job is frustrated. Job is sad. Job is angered, and it comes to the point where the things that he's saying they turn from just conversations and yelling to actually screaming out his damn dams and whys. And it's very important that we understand that what the writer is modeling through Job is the necessary path towards healing, that it's necessary to speak it out, to be pissed off, to be upset, and also recognizing that we see clearly in the story that God didn't have a problem with that. And unfortunately, so many people have been taught that you can't question God and you shouldn't be upset and you shouldn't say, voice it when you're upset, et cetera, et cetera. But Job is actually, this book is supporting us in knowing that it's actually safe to do so and necessary to do so. Week 3, what about your friends? His friends were not loving. His friends were not empathetic listeners. And we see that story is supporting us through his friends in understanding what not to do. How and what not to do when our friends are in dire straits, when our friends are hurting or grieving. Week 4, reclaiming hope. There's a familiar passage of scripture that's been used to has been interpreted rather as foreshadowing Jesus. And it's not true. I know my Redeemer liveth. There are hymns that are written. It's part of the Handel's Messiah. That is not talking about the Christ. That is not talking about Jesus. But what Job was doing was reclaiming hope. What Job was doing was, even in the midst of great despair, great sadness, calamity, and sickness in his own body, he had access to the recognition of hope. And that's what that's really about. And it's beautiful to understand and see that for any of us that are going through a traumatic experience, any of us that are healing through a traumatic experience, as we move after our dams and whys, as we start to move forward, eventually our inner resilience will show up. And that's that voice of hope that says, I know my Redeemer lives. We looked at another passage of scripture last week, which really, I think, is a passage of scripture and a misunderstanding that has come from Job, this idea of God testing you, and this idea that when God tests you, then you will become pure gold. But as I shared in that text, in that sermon, I am pure gold, what Job was saying was, he already knows who he is, that if God would test me in the way that gold is tested to see if it's real or fake, I will be shown to be pure gold. He was saying, if he was $100 bill, if you hold me up to the light, you'll see that I'm not counterfeit. And so it's a radically different understanding of what that verse of scripture is saying. And it changes the whole game with this idea that God is testing us and we got to go through the trial so that we can become gold. You're already gold. Please go back to that message if you missed it. So I was reminded of a story, and this is a story I've shared, I know, at least 2 times before. It's something that sticks with me as a personal memory and a personal lesson that I come back to often. When I was a teenager, I had the wonderful opportunity to work at the DC Convention Center. And my mentor at the time, Langdon Johnson, he would drop jewels all the time and teach me different things. And I remember one day we were in his office, I was working on some project, and many times he would just ask me questions, talk to me about my goals, support me in thinking beyond, tomorrow or next month and thinking about where I want to go in my life. And I remember one day he asked me, he said, well, how would you define learning? And I said, well, learning is when you study some information and then you prove that you know the information through, taking a test, or learning is just reading and studying. And he kind of smiled and he went on to tell me a story. And he said, imagine there's a man walking down the street and he comes upon an alleyway. Now, he doesn't know what's in the alleyway. He's curious, so he turns and walks down the alley. And as he gets into the alley good, he's met with a rabid, ferocious dog that runs towards him and begins to attack him. Right? He's able to get away. He runs away and goes on about his day. The next day, the man is walking down the same sidewalk, comes to the same alley, and he goes down the alley again. The same dog is there. The same dog attacks him. And he told me that story to say that, as you can see, the man didn't learn anything. He had an experience, and he committed the same action that he did the day before and got the same results. He didn't learn anything. And what my mentor was supporting me in understanding is that learning is not just about study. Learning is not just about memorization or even taking tests. The way we know that something has been learned is there is a absolute 100% change in behavior. So in this story, if the man had looked at the alley and said, nah, the second time it kept going, we would know that the man has learned that that alleyway may not is not something good for him down there, and he's not going to go down that path again. Following these election results, what is clear to me is that America hasn't learned a damn thing. And I'm so glad that we're taking this journey starting last month through the book of Job, because it serves us well. It serves us well as we interpret and attempt to understand the times we are living in and living through. Because remember, the writer of Job turned to the ancient archetype of the suffering servant to speak up, to speak out, and to advocate for his community who was suffering. The writer of Job uses the character of Job to critique a spiritual worldview that was the source of their oppression. He used the character of Job to critique a God concept that was the source of their oppression. The writer of Job recognized that there was something as old as time buried in the experience of his community, and wisdom could be found if he was willing to explore it and share what he had learned with his people. I can't imagine that the writer of Job would have ever thought that we would be here in the 21st century reading these words. The world we live in is beyond anyone's imagination who lived at that time, and yet here we are with all the complexities of our world and existence, turning to ancient wisdom in order to find comfort, solace, and to make sense of our suffering at the individual and collective level. The very courageous act of writing the Job story has placed the eyes of history on the unnamed wisdom community that the writer belongs to and advocated for. That's the power of the written word. That's the power of telling your story. It leaves a trail of breadcrumbs for those of us who follow, pointing us in the direction of wisdom and answers. There is no doubt in my mind that history has its eyes on us at this pivotal moment in the 21st century. And I believe that we can use this story, this text, to support us as we search for meaning, for answers, and for wisdom. And so, as I will be speaking from the topic, History Has Its Eyes on You, I will do my best to cover the practical, the political, and the spiritual. So when we consider the practical, the election of the convicted felon to a second term has brought up and will continue to bring up a host of feelings for all of us. And I want to reiterate what we shared in the email that went out this week following the election, and we also posted this on social media on Wednesday. Guard your heart and mind. Feel all your feelings. Breathe them out, cry them out, scream them out, just as Job did. Most importantly, at this time and the difficult days ahead, care for yourself. Whatever soothes you, do that soothing thing. Whatever supports you, do that supportive thing. Whatever reminds you of what is true, go to that reminder. Whatever nourishes you, go to that place of nourishment. It's interesting because I did not talk about it as we read the first and talked about the first two chapters of Job. But what's interesting, after Job experienced what I call torture from Yahweh, and why do I say that? Because the conversation between Yahweh and the accuser, or Satan, was do as much as you want to him short of killing him. And again, that's what torture is. After Job had experienced the torture approved by Yahweh, he sat in silence, according to the text, for 7 days and 7 nights. And I love that because just that alone is instructive. The worst of the worst possible things happened in this character's life. The worst of the worst possible things may have happened in your own life, or just, again, as we're talking about the election, you have this experience, and the opportunity is to just sit and be still, to not try to do anything. Do not rush into solutions. Do not rush into doing. Do not rush into fixing. We remember the great wisdom from Dr. H. Emily Cady in Lessons in Truth. Doing is secondary to what? Being. Right here and right now, less than a week outside of these election results, is not the time to run into doing, to fixing, or to solving. We read the text of Job and we see that he sat in silence for 7 days and 7 nights. There's an instructive energy there. There's a article that was published in HuffPost that I think is very necessary and beautiful. It's titled "Post-Election Stress is a Real and Heavy Thing and Shows Up in Surprising Ways." And there's some beautiful wisdom that we receive from here. Again, we're talking on the practical right now. This is important. One, we must own and understand that your body and your brain have been affected by this election cycle, not just the results. Because I know for a fact there are many people that were already anxious, 200 days ago, let alone the last 100 days, right? There are a lot of people that were already worried. This election cycle has affected our bodies and brains, and we got to just understand and know that that's true. It doesn't mean that there's a permanent effect. It doesn't mean that healing is not available, but you can't heal what you're not aware of, right? You can't heal what you don't reveal. So our bodies and brains have been affected by this election cycle. So I want you to take a breath and acknowledge that. Don't repress it. Don't try to spiritualize it. Don't try to meditate it away. Don't try to 555 it away. Don't try to affirm or pray it away. Know that this is natural and normal as a human being. Again, take a breath. Breathe out. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing to fix, and there's nothing to rush to solve. Psychologists who have studied this say that it is common to feel worried or sad for weeks after the election. I think there's some people that thought, 24 hours and I'll be fine, 48 hours and I'll be fine. And some of you are here now, you come to Sunday and you're like, I'm still not fine. Well, guess what? Scientists, psychologists, experts, those that have done studies of thousands of people, done studies over many, many, many years, looking at various groups of people, this is actually natural and normal. Again, understanding that our brain and body was affected. The election cycle didn't happen in 24 hours, right? So the effect that happened, took time, right? And so the same way, it may take a little time for you to release, and that's okay. There's another wonderful recommendation. Don't force yourself to be productive, but also don't isolate. Again, I go back to what we said in the email. Whatever soothes you, do that soothing thing. Whatever supports you, do that supportive thing. Whatever reminds you what is true, go to that reminder. Whatever nourishes you, go to that nourishment. And so, of course, being in community today is important. I encourage you to make a point to be at the God Talk next Sunday, because that's also going to be very supportive as we are in community together, right? As we are moving through this journey of healing, moving through the journey of grief. Also in this piece, we read that one 2018 study on 1,300 adults found that people who judged their bleakest and harshest emotions of resentment and disappointment ended up feeling more psychologically stressed. In other words, people who accept their so-called negative emotions are actually able to cope with their stress more successfully than those who do not, and ultimately are able to heal and release it. So this is what we mean when we teach from a spiritual perspective, non-resistance. From a metaphysical perspective, when we teach non-resistance, this is what we're talking about. Resistance creates more pain, right? Resistance will always and only make it worse. And acceptance creates the opening for healing. Remember, you're the sky, not the weather. And so there may be a storm in your sky. There may be rain in your sky. There may be lightning in your sky. There may be hail. There may be snow in your sky. And yet you remember, I'm the sky, not the weather. Every weather pattern moves through. I remain. And that's what the spiritual teaching is inviting us to live and live from, not to avoid, not to put band-aids on, not to bypass, not to gaslight. Again, not to try to use our spiritual practices to fix something. Our spiritual practices are designed to support us in remembering something. Spiritual practices are designed to support us in accessing yet again that infinite space of peace that is always available even in the midst of the storm. And so again, on the practical level, we also learn through the character of Job that it's okay and a necessary part of the healing journey to scream out your dams and whys. And so right here and right now, I want to speak to all Black women. This is my love letter to Black women. Actually, initially was going to just make this sermon a love letter to Black women because it's that serious. But I want to send so much love to you. I want to send so much love to every Black woman that is listening right now, that will listen at some point in the future, that may not even be listening, but the vibration of my voice is vibrating all throughout the universe. Your lament is the same lament we hear through the character of Job. I hear you and I see you today. Because what is true, Black women have continually believed in and fought for this country's highest ideals. And this country has not loved you back. As I read the words of Job, as I read about Job, I see you because you, my sisters, you are the innocent sufferer. You are the suffering saint. But beautiful souls, I want you to hear this. History has its eyes on you. Your labor is not in vain. Your story has been written and history bows to you. History learns from you. History honors you. Your brilliance, your joy, your love. It has inspired nations and will continue to do so as long as humans exist on this planet. And when I say this, it's right here in the text. There's a passage in the text. It's in chapter 29 where Job is lamenting. And again, when I read these words, I hear Black women because he's talking about all the things that he's done for his community. And everybody has forgotten about him. He's now being ridiculed. He said, I delivered the poor who cried and the orphan who had no helper. I caused the widow's heart to sing for joy. I put on righteousness and it clothed me. My justice was like a robe and a turban. I was eyes to the blind and feet to the lame. I was father to the needy, or in this case, mother to the needy. And I championed the cause of the stranger. I broke the fangs of the unrighteous and made them drop their prey from their teeth. The writer of Job is so powerful and beautiful in his poetic language. Think about that. If the unrighteous or the wicked or the evildoer or the predator was like a snake, he said, I took that snake and broke its fangs and made it drop whoever was in harm's way. And that's exactly who Black women have been in this country. Over and over and over again, generation after generation, decade after decade, Black women I love you, I see you, and history has its eyes on you. Know that you have always been the best of us. Know that you are enough and have done enough. Rest as long as you need to. You don't owe this country a damn thing. And then we can see that the story of Job is alive and well. The reason why it's necessary to read and instructive to support us when we think about Job's friends, Eliphaz, Zophar, and Bildad, all across social media, and even responses that we received to our email that we sent out in love, we see the spirit of his friends that are completely unhelpful. And as I shared, and if you look at the end of the text, the only people that were rebuked were Job's friends. They were the ones that were rebuked. God didn't have anything negative or judgmental to say to Job. Job wasn't punished or made to feel wrong because he was like, F all of them, I'm done. Job wasn't mad when he was like, where's this God? I'm upset with you. But Job's friends, God rebuked them. Using spiritual teaching and spiritual ideas, I'm seeing God's people just abused. And when I say God's people, all of us are God's people, every beautiful soul on this planet. And people are using spiritual teaching and spiritual ideas to abuse. There's the God is in control crowd. There's the Jesus is still on the throne crowd. There's the don't focus on fear crowd. There's the if you feel anything other than peace or joy right now, you don't know the real truth crowd. There's the nothing bad is actually going to happen crowd. There's the new earth is just emerging crowd. The new earth may be emerging, and that's fine and good. I'm not even here to argue that one way or the other. But people are sad right now. People are grieving right now. People are angry right now. And that's part of the human story. That's part of being human. I've taught on this many times. The shortest verse in the Bible, and in many cases, the most consequential and powerful verse that you could ever read in any of these books we call the Bible. In the Second Testament, Jesus wept. Now, what was happening? He went to see his friends, Mary, Martha, and their brother Lazarus. And when he gets there, he finds out that his friend and his friend's brother, Lazarus, was dead. Now, we all know who Jesus is. We all read before this moment, we've read about the miracles. We know that he can raise the dead. We know that he can heal the sick and open the blinded eyes. Although he had all of that truth, although he had all of that wisdom and knowledge, the hearing that his two friends, Mary and Martha, are grieving, and hearing that his friend Lazarus is no longer with us, he wept. He felt his emotions. He did not judge his emotions. He did not bypass it. He did not say God is in control. He did not say, I know that I have the power and potential and possibility to change this situation right now. So what do I need to be crying for? Why do I need to be grieving? He wept. And then, of course, after that, there was a miracle. You don't want to think about Jesus? Okay, we could talk about somebody else, Buddha. It was out of great emotion that Buddha moves forward on his journey to understand, and I say understand versus find, and reveal nirvana, right? And move to that place of enlightenment. He had a sheltered life, did not know that there were other human beings on this planet that were experiencing great suffering. And once he became aware of it, he wanted to do something about it. He was moved, deeply moved. So much so that he essentially renounced his royalty. I'm thinking about coming to America right now. I renounced my throne. And he went on this journey. And ultimately, after doing a whole bunch of stuff, and here's again the same lesson. So I say doing is secondary to being. Stop running to fixing and solutions and doing stuff. After all of that doing, he sat his behind under the Bodhi tree and found that everything that he was seeking, the answers, the solution, was actually within. And so, as I said in week 3, and the What About Your Friends series, all of these hot takes, whatever they may be, lack empathy. They blame the victim, and they reflect a very narrow worldview of life and of God. And in 2016, after the now convicted felon was elected in 2016, I said something that I want to reiterate again for the people in the back. In that sermon, I said, God is not in control, not in the way that people think God is in control. God does not have a plan, and Jesus is not on the throne. What I said in 2016 is that God does not have a plan, but that we must have a plan, and God responds to our plan. This is New Thought 101. Hello, somebody. We hold the idea. The idea is like a mold, and God fills the mold with itself, with God's substance. The truth is, God works for us by working what? Through us. And when we understand that God works through us, our emotions are valid, necessary, useful, as the power and presence is flowing through us. History has its eyes on you. Understanding, and we can critique and see how problematic Job's friends were. Don't be like Job's friends. Before posting, before reaching out to someone, keep the THINK acronym at the front of your mind. Think, is it true? Think, is it helpful? Think, is it inspiring? Think, is it necessary? I love that because you might think it's true, you might think it's helpful, you might even think it's inspiring, but it's probably not necessary, right? It's probably not necessary at that moment. It's probably not urgent. Do I absolutely have to send this right now? Do I absolutely have to post this right now? That's what necessary means. And finally, is it kind? History has its eyes on you. One day we'll be able to look back and see were you part of the crowd, the God is in control crowd? Were you in the just pray and affirm it away crowd? Were you in the Pollyanna, bury your head in the sand crowd? Or were you a part of the empathetic listeners? Were you a part of the crowd that was creating, as we talked about, safe spaces so that all who are feeling their feelings, from sadness to rage, can express them? History will tell the story of how we showed up. History will tell the story of how we showed up for ourselves and how we showed up for others. History had its eyes on nations throughout human history that fell into fascism and authoritarianism. Just as we read the book of Job and find meaning, answers, and wisdom, it behooves us to do that same thing at this juncture in American history. It's important for us to look at how other nations move through what we're entering. It's important to look at how regular people operated in the midst of what we're walking into. And I want to say this, it is not alarmist to take the words of the incoming administration seriously. There's been a clip that's being shared a lot, and it echoes so much of my heart as, again, I really wanted to make this sermon a love letter to Black women, where Trevor Noah, he talks about the thing he loves about Black women. He said, you want to know what's going on in the world? You want to get a clear assessment? Talk to a Black woman. And he said the reason being is because Black women have to fully understand what's going on in this world because they can't afford to F around and find out. They can't afford to be running out here, making a mistake or choosing somebody that might be okay, believe in certain lies. Black women can't afford to do that. And so in truth, none of us can do that. And again, I say it is not alarmist to take the words of the incoming administration seriously. One of the things that's interesting, and many of you may not know this, so there's been all this conversation about Project 2025. And again, you could say, oh, those are just words. That has nothing to do with what's really going to happen. They're not really going to do all of those things. It's unimaginable. That's never happened here in the United States. That's something that only happens in other parts of the world. Or yeah, that happened in 1933 in Nazi Germany. That's not going to happen here. In 1997, there was a think tank that was created and a document by the same name was created. Project for the New American Century. It was a Republican think tank, and they were looking at, it's 97, we're moving into the 21st century, and what are our goals? What are our plans? What are our intentions? What are our desires? How do we want to shape the world to our likeness and also this nation to our likeness? Well, Project for the New American Century did its due diligence, did its work, and got George Bush elected in 2000. It should be interesting to note that some of the people that were a part of that think tank became a part of his cabinet. One became the vice president, Dick Cheney. One became the Secretary of Defense, Donald Rumsfeld. Another became the Attorney General, John Ashcroft. And one of the things that's interesting about the document that they created is that it talked about the need to take control of the Middle East and the need to have a war that will allow them to do that, but also to have a pretext of something needs to happen on American soil so that the American people will be for the war. And everything that took place in and during that administration, the wars that we were brought into on a lie, the Patriot Act, which was enacted believing that that was necessary because of terrorism. All of these were the 1997 plans that were written in that document. And so it actually warms my heart that in this day and age, Project 2025 is actually known, and there are people reading it. People weren't reading or talking about Project for the New American Century in 97. Right? I read it in 2000. So it was already 3 years late, and it was actually after 9/11. Right? So much had already happened. The election had already happened. So again, it's not being alarmist to take the words of the incoming administration seriously, because it's already been done before in this country. And so as we move towards 2025, now is the time to prepare. Make a clear-eyed assessment of your potential vulnerabilities. You know, if you live in a blue state, we know that we have a number of protections and we can't fully rely on those, right? We know that any number of things could change, but we're grateful, right? For those that live in a red state, it's important to understand what the laws are in your particular state, in your particular locality, so that you can understand if I were in scenario A, would I have the access to the resources that I need? If I was in scenario B, would I have access? And if I don't have access in my state, is there another state that I can get to safely if that needs to be done? Look at all of the ways to mitigate any potential harm to you and your loved ones. And again, I say, this is not alarmist, because history is filled with far too many examples of people who dismissed the rhetoric, those who thought they could pray it away, those who thought they could just focus on positive thoughts, those who thought that they were coming for other peoples and communities, but not them. And so to keep it just light, to understand what I'm saying, think of it this way. It is better to have an umbrella and not need it than to have been advised to take an umbrella and then end up outside soaked. And so that's all we're saying. History has its eyes on you. History has been doing its thing for so long, and thankfully the gift of history is that we can learn something. The gift of history is we can prepare where others were unable to prepare. The gift of history is we can prepare in ways that others didn't think they needed to prepare. And so now is the time to decide how we will show up for those people and communities that will be most affected or first affected as we move into 2025. History has its eyes on you. How will you serve and support women in this country? History has its eyes on you. How will you support trans people in this country? History has its eyes on you. How will you serve and support immigrants? How will you serve and support the marginalized and systemically undervalued? How will you support and serve the least of these? What's so powerful, beautiful, and wonderful, and so many of you are coming to my mind, I'm not going to name names because I'll get myself in trouble. But so many of you are doing powerful work in the world. You're serving so many communities. And so it's important for you to consider that and think about that and what it means. As pastors of Celebration Spiritual Center, Pastor Yolanda and I are thinking about that, thinking about all of these ways, and even understanding when it comes to free speech, what does that mean? Will I be able to give a sermon like this at some point a year from now, right? Will I be targeted? I've used that man's name many times and spoken out against him many times throughout the first administration. And there were supporters of his that didn't like it. I received emails. But understanding the climate that we're moving into, we all need to consider this. We all need to think about this. And how will we serve and support the least of these? And so in closing, to the United States of America, history has its eyes on you. I opened this sermon with a story about learning, and based on that story, it's clear that America hasn't learned a damn thing. Over and over and over and over and over again, this nation has walked down that sidewalk and gone into the alley. The same rabid dog keeps attacking them. America over and over and over again keeps making the wrong choice. Ain't learned a damn thing. Now, just as we know on the individual level, we cannot escape who we are in consciousness, no matter how much money we make, no matter what external fame or success or accolades or external validation we may have or receive, none of that can change until we acknowledge what's actually running the internal show. We must look within and make a change, and then healing is absolutely possible. Well, the United States of America is like a toxic person with all the external indicators of success and prosperity, but is actually cold and dead inside. Life, being loving, continues to bring opportunity after opportunity, decade after decade, century after century, to acknowledge what is really running the show so that it can be transmuted and healed, but America keeps making the wrong choice. Racism and misogyny lie at the very heart, the very core of this United States of America. It's the battery that's running this country. It's always been running the show. America, history has its eyes on you. You can become great, but you ain't never been great. History has its eyes on you. History will deal with you just as it has dealt with all other nations throughout recorded history. Just as the writer of Job spoke out as a radical theologian, so I speak out today. I speak from this moment. I speak so that we are not forgotten. I speak so that we cannot be repressed. I speak so that these words and ideas live beyond our lifetime. Beautiful souls, give yourself time and give yourself grace. As you feel able and capable, it is important that you prepare, not with fear, but with resolve. We will protect each other. We will love each other. We will serve and support each other. We will serve and support the least of these. We know that history has its eyes on us, and we will not shrink, nor will we cower down from this moment or the future moments. History has its eyes on us. For this truth, I am so very grateful for the opportunity to be here in community with each and every one of you. I am so very grateful for the opportunity to use a text like Job to remind us of some powerful truths that we can actually make use of right now, given our current experiences and our current times. I am so grateful. To that I say amen, ashe, and so it is.
Everybody take that breath. Everybody feel what you feel. We are here to give you permission to feel. It doesn't mean that you are not evolved or don't know. It means that part of in this human experience is feeling, not running from the feelings, not pretending they don't exist. It is also acknowledging where we are as we envision where we want to go.
Yeah.
This has been a challenging few days. And I thank PG for being who he is, not just to you all, but to me. It has been a challenging few days, but we know the truth.
Yeah.
And if you can't get to the truth yet, that's okay.
Absolutely okay.
That is okay.
Yeah.
Don't pretend to get to the truth. Get to the truth in your own process so that you know the truth is true. Have I cried? Oh, have I cried? Have I been angry and saying the things, the words that PY likes to use? Yes, I have.
Yeah.
And have I taken the time to love myself enough to not judge any iota of it? Yes, I have.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
As we move forward,
Yeah.
come back to this message.
Yeah.
Do what you need to do.
Yeah.
Take care of you,
Yeah.
my sisters.
Yeah.
Take care of you.
Yeah.
Love you. Remember who you are, and remember that life loves you and that you are worthy beyond anything else you could do on this planet.
Yeah.
Take care of you. Love you. Allow yourself to be loved.
Absolutely.
Sisters, I'm talking about the Black women. Allow yourself to be loved.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, PG.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. In this time, in this moment, it is time for giving. You've seen the information throughout the stream. It is easy to give to CSC. You can go to our website, celebrationsc.org/give, or you can text your dollar amount to 347-744-9500. There's a $10 minimum to text to give. And when we think about giving, one of the things that was on my mind today, so as we talk about preparing and what are the things that we're going to do, one of the other things is looking to those organizations, right? Of course, organizations like the ACLU and so many others we can think about, mental health organizations, we can think about LGBTQ plus organizations. Our dollar multiplies ourselves, right? So if we can give $1 and let that dollar be our representative and do more than we could do individually, even if we went to volunteer at that organization. And so I think it's imperative that we ensure that we're giving to those spaces that are going to be supportive, right? And so when I think about Celebration Spiritual Center, CSC has been that from day one. I was sharing this week when I think about CSC, as we were visioning CSC, Sandy Hook happened. And when I think about CSC, it's like from that moment to in our first month, there was the terrorist bombing in Boston, at the Boston Marathon, and on, Pulse nightclub, on, Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, Philando Castile, Breonna Taylor, on, 2016 election, this election, on and on and on and on. And one of the beautiful things, I know there are some of y'all that probably haven't tuned in a while, right? You probably haven't watched the stream, no heat, no judgment, but you knew
where to come.
You knew, oh, let me tap into CSC, right? You knew, oh, wait, let me go to the YouTube channel and tap into one of these meditations, right? And so this is one of the reasons we support, and I say we because we support CSC financially. We give just as much as we receive, right? We give financially because we recognize that this place, even for us personally as the founders, it's doing something that's bigger than us, that's bigger than our imagination. All that we thought CSC could be and felt that it was necessary, it's bigger than even that. And so when we give, that's a big part of what we're giving to, right? Understanding that an institution, an organization like this needs to exist, right? Because in moments like this, we need to be able to come together. In moments like this, we need to be able to hear the truth. In moments like this, we need meditations, et cetera, et cetera. And so when we give from this place and space, we know that as we give, we receive. We know that there's a cycle of giving and receiving, a cycle of abundance that happens all the time. And so as we give, then we can affirm this beautiful truth. All the money that I circulate returns to me multiplied
Returns to me multiplied
in a never-ending cycle
in a never-ending cycle
of increase
and
and enjoyment.
enjoyment.
To that we say amen.
Amen.
Ashe.
Ashe.
And so it is.
So it is.
So it is. Well, we love each and every one of you.
Mm-hmm.
We love you. We love you. We appreciate you. Of course, thank you for your financial gifts to CSC, but also thank you for your presence.
Mm-hmm.
Please make it your intention to be with us next Sunday, and specifically to be with us for the God Talk at 1 p.m. Next Sunday. And so if you're on the mailing list, the weekly email that goes out on Fridays has the Zoom link and password for anyone. If you happen to join the mailing list later, you'll receive an auto reply with the link and password for Zoom. I think it's going to be a good session.
Yeah, you don't have
necessary.
You might not even have a question, but you just want to be in the vibration of love and support.
Yeah.
And you may receive something you didn't even know you needed.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone came today knowing they needed something, and we know that they received what they needed.
Yep.
And maybe that it was just a place that honors you, that never judges you, and that supports you right where you are.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So join us next week.
Yes.
For God Talk.
Yeah, and we'll see you on Wednesday for the Momentum Prayer Call. All right. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Be well. Keep taking care of yourself. All right. Bye for now.
Bye for now.